The following video was made possible in part by the financial generosity of my mother. If you're watching this, thank you. This video would not exist had it not been for your efforts. So, here's a quick history lesson for the uneducated newcomers. In the year 2008, Sonic Unleashed released on the 18th of November for a wide range of consoles, those being the PS2, the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PS3. If you grew up in the mid to late 2000s, you'd remember that Sonic Unleashed and the franchise as a whole was absolutely hated by everybody. But in recent times, the public opinion of this game has since done a full 180, when now it's highly regarded as one of the best Sonic games by pretty much everybody. Well, almost everybody. No, wait a minute, this is IGN, nobody cares about their opinions. But even before the public's change of heart, fans have been begging Sega to remaster this game and bring it to modern platforms. Because not only is it actually good, it's also trapped on the 7th gen consoles, which really sucks. Especially when you remember its performance.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
And because of time constraints and hardware limitations, it couldn't even get a PC port. So there was no way to experience this game at a smooth frame rate at the time. We all just had to deal with it. Thankfully, though, we don't live in 2008 anymore. Nowadays, we have the technology to play it at non-PowerPoint frame rates regardless of platform. Which is what I'm about to guide you through. Join me as we find out the definitive ways to play Sonic Unleashed. Or Sonic World Adventure in Japan. Just thought I'd mention that. Yeah. Now, you've probably heard this from other YouTubers going over the exact same topic, but they only really specify one method or two. Me? I'm doing all of them! On Xbox, PS3, and most popular, PCs. In fact, it's so popular, I had to rewrite my script and delay this video. Which I can tell you, it was a very fun and enjoyable experience. And in the end, I will rank all of them and determine which is the true definitive method. But before I continue, there are two things I do have to mention. This video will focus strictly on the high definition versions of Sonic Unleashed, not the standard definitions released for the Wii and PS2. Purely because this is the one with the most information and is generally what people think of when somebody mentions Unleashed. And for obvious legal reasons, this channel does not condone or support piracy. I'll only do it for games that have been fully abandoned by their original publishers, like Transformers Fall of Cybertron, published by Activision. For that game, you cannot legally buy it anywhere on the internet. For a normal price at least. I mean, like, seriously!
What the hell is this?
And the only way to play it is via piracy. Sonic Unleashed does not fit that description, however, as it is readily being supported by Sega themselves on the Xbox store. So, you should go support the official release. And speaking of Xbox, let's get to method 1. If you're loyal to the Xbox brand, you're in luck, because they kinda sorta already remastered it in mid-November of 2022, as part of the Xbox Series lineup of backwards compatible / FPS boost games for the console. And oh boy, as soon as I saw those smooth frames in Jungle Joyrite's water section, I practically ascended. Even in notoriously complex areas like the Empire City hub world, you are not getting anything below 60 FPS no matter what. And that is just beautiful. There's just a few problems though. This extra boost in performance is exclusive to the Xbox Series consoles, which, yeah. And it also means there's nothing for PlayStation users. Not even PSN is an option anymore since Sony took the whole thing down in June of that year too.
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
And also, this is strictly an FPS boost, and that's it. the resolution is still stuck at 720p, the texture quality is still crustier than my left ankle, the homing attack is still on the boost button, and they still haven't figured out a way to get rid of that annoying red music. Sure, these problems aren't really that big of a deal, but it still feels like a missed opportunity to make some much needed improvements. But hey, at least you can still play the DLC stages. It's still available on the modern Xbox store, which is really nice because the one for the Xbox 360 shut down almost a year ago at this point. So it's still nice that these stages are also playable at 60 FPS. That's really not bad. But what if you can't afford an Xbox Series X or S and you only have previous gen consoles? Well, first off, that is very much relatable. Second, you're not entirely out of luck. You can still play it on the Xbox One, but it's locked at 30 FPS again. And if you have something even older like the PS3, don't worry. I'll tell you some neat tricks you can do for that system now. As previously stated, there is nothing you can do for modern PlayStation consoles, unless you want PS4 or 5 to run Linux. But if you still want to use a real PS3, there is roughly two ways. For starters, you can manually set the display resolution and the console settings down to 720p, because despite the game saying it supports 1080p, it's kind of a lie. See, it's still being rendered in 720p, but merely being upscaled to 1080p. Think of it as, let's say, Nvidia's DLSS, but running on a supercomputer from, oh my god, 2006! Can you really believe that the PS3 came out in 2006? God damn, where is the time going? And because it's running on a supercomputer that's old enough to conceive children now, has a heavy strain on the CPU, which is what's causing the severe drop in frame rate. Yes, the upscale to 1080p is what's turning Sonic Unleashed into Sonic on the PowerPoint presentation. Which, fun fact, is the spiritual sequel to Tales of the Music Maker. So scaling it down to something Unleashed can natively support removes quite a lot of the problems. And a slight benefit to the PS3 versions over the 360s is that the game's frame rate is unlocked at 60 FPS, while the Xbox is stuck at 30, as I previously stated. And especially in cutscenes, oh, you really do get some of that sweet stable performance. Admittedly though, the nighttime stages don't see much of an improvement. Jungle Generate Day still looks like a joke. And do yourself a favor and just don't look at Empire City. This place is just dreadful no matter what. Just like the United States of America.
You okay?
But wait, there's more. You can connect it to a CRT, set it to 4x3, 480i or 576i and all that stuff. And now everything is even better. Not just because of the fact that you're in a CRT, but because the resolution is so low, it puts less strain on the PS3, which means you get better frame rates. I mean, it's not that much better because Empire City still looks like that, but hey, it's something, right? Fun fact, not only can these methods also be applied to the Xbox 360, but it's also the reason why a lot of Unleashed footage is so low res. Special thanks to Dashini for discovering this neat trick in the first place, and with that, we're now done with consoles. Okay, I'm just going to keep this as simple as possible. Yes, it is possible to actually put mods into games and play those games on real consoles, so long as the consoles themselves have been modded to do so. Once it's done, you'll also have the ability to install fan-made patches to your games that you'll definitely legally own to improve performance. The two main patches you want to look out for are to disable the real-time reflections and the dynamic shadows. And so after a quick bit of choosing, here are a couple of mods that I would personally recommend. Wayhawk's Fury, so that you could get rid of some or most of the Wayhawk's flow to increase some performance, and it actually does come with extra benefits like tighter air controls and faster running speeds. In fact, you have the option to add more flow modes, which, hey, maybe you're Michael Bay and you're feeling nostalgic and you'd like to see your console explode again. The front controls for, well, front controls, that also puts the homing attack on the jump button, which, come on Sega, why didn't you do that? HD buttons, remastered UI, and increase the XP pickup range. I usually set mine to infinity because I am not running long distances just to get to me XP. And if this one really works on a real PS3, Sonic Unleashed FPS performance improvement. You really couldn't have made that any simpler? This one removes a lot of graphical effects and background detail for the PS3 version to get a massive jump in performance. Now, it isn't very visually appealing, I mean, just look at that popping, it's atrocious. But at the same time, I'd much rather be looking at this than this. I'm sure you'll understand. And no, I'm not giving you a tutorial. There, now we can actually move on to... Finally, my home turf. PCs. Now, you might be wondering,
What do you mean PC? I thought you said something. We've never got a PC. The hardware didn't even be tested.
and to that I say, you're right, it didn't. But,
You know who?
got a PC port instead?
Who?
Sonic Generations. Yeah, that's right, all the way back in 2011. It's no secret at this point that both these games run the exact same engine, the Hedgehog engine, version 1. And you know what that means? Unleashed mods! And here comes the real meat and potatoes. Everyone, let us pay our respects to the one that started it all. The Unleashed Project. This mod aims to input all of Sonic Unleashed's daytime stages into Sonic Generations, with some slight tweaks to accommodate for the new game. And because it was available on PC and used the same engine as Unleashed, not only was level insertion possible, only taking about 2 years, but this mod was heavily praised and considered to be the definitive way to play these levels. Well, even the mod itself says so. And it's easy to see why, because this also shows off just how well Sonic Unleashed would have done on an actual PC. Even more so with a complete add-on. Because, fun fact, you really don't need that much powerful hardware to run a 14-year-old game. Oh great, I'm having another midlife crisis. However, the biggest negative about this mod is that it's only the daytime stages. You don't even get the separate acts or even the DLC stages. Just the main ones, nothing more. Hi, editor, Sana here, so, basically, ignore what I just said because it is outdated information. See, 7 months ago, there was an update for the complete add-on mode whereby enabling an option in the mod settings, you could switch between the normal Act 1 stage or the DLC Act 1 stage. Now, granted, you don't get all of them, so like, you don't get to play WINDMILL Act 4 or Dragon Road Act 5, for example. But you're still technically playing the DLC stages, so yeah, I'm just gonna eat my words on that. Anyway, let's continue with your regularly scheduled me. Which, while unfortunate, there are other options, in the form of the Adventure Pack series of mods, which aren't add-ons, no, they're their own separate mods for each individual country, and they have everything. The DLC stages, the separate acts, the main acts, you name it. Hell, some mad lads were even able to bring Eggman Land in. Cutscene as well. A really nice attention to detail about these mods is that the normal white space has been replaced with the hub world of said country of the Adventure Pack mods, and have been integrated in the white space in the Unleashed project. Like, that's really cool! And the best part about it being on PC is that you can also crank up the resolution and all the graphic settings, and you won't lose even a drop of performance. Right now you can see me playing it at max settings at 1080p, which is huge compared to Sonic Unleashed's 720p. And if I really wanted to, I could even push it to 4K. But I think that's enough Generations talk. Now, in my original script, I would have given the special title to Emulation, which was the definitive way to play it for a long time. See, there are two ways to emulate Sonic Unleashed. You can use either Xenia Canary or RPCS3. These are the emulators for the Xbox 360 and PS3 respectively. The reason why it was used so heavily at the time is because of the still insane performance improvement compared to real hardware. Mainly from Xenia because, surprisingly, you don't need that powerful hardware to run it. It even works on an old i5 4-core CPU. Then again, you really don't need much to get better than this, trust me. But despite the serious bump in frame rate that gives the Xbox Series X a run for its $600, it was still far from perfect. I did roughly 2 complete playthroughs of Unleashed via Xenia, and both of my experiences were filled to the brim with visual bugs no matter what I set my API to, frequent crashes whenever I set it to Direct3D 12, but seriously, it crashes way too easily, and I couldn't even use RPCS3 because I need to build a supercomputer just to try to emulate the PS3 decently. According to the website, it says I need a 6-core, 12-threaded CPU to get decent performance. So I did. I moved on from the Intel Core i5-6500 to the Intel Core i7-5820K, along with now 20GB of DDR4 RAM just to be safe. And even when I was using pretty much all the patches I could, it still runs worse than even a real PS3. But this is to be expected. The game is notoriously difficult to properly emulate regardless of which version you use, so it's not really RPCS3's fault. TFOC runs almost like a real PS3, minus some compiling shaders, and... oh, I forgot that. Hell, even God of War 3 runs okayish when you disable just the color grading and the layered fog in the patches. Like, look at this! You can hardly tell it's emulation! But it doesn't really matter now, because these methods are now obsolete and redundant. In case you've been living under a rock, on the 1st of March 2025, Scythe, a well-known Generations modder, uploaded a video on his channel showcasing a native PC port of Unleashed worked on by him and many other talented people, at this point famously known as Unleashed Recompiled. Ah, yes, finally, we have it. After 16 years of this, we finally have it. And the reason why it's called Unleashed Recompiled is because of the way this port was created, via static recompilation, not via decompilation like I initially thought when I first heard about this. Yes, I know, I am very dumb. From what I understand, decompilation is taking a program, or in this case game, and breaking it down into something resembling its source code so that it could then be natively ported to other devices. Static recompilation, however, is an easier method whereby it simply translates a game's code to another device with no source code involved whatsoever. If you want a further in-depth video on just how exactly this works, Matt Casey Bytes has a video on his channel that's better than whatever I can provide you with. This uses the Xbox 360 version of the game, not the PS3 version. And the way they were able to do it at all was with several years of experience modding the Hedgehog engine and the Xbox 360 emulator Xenia. So it was no easy feat by any means, but they still managed to do it. I'm shocked. How long did it take them anyway? 6 months? What? Okay, you know what? Screw that. Witchcraft was definitely involved, because how did they do that in such a short amount of time? And here's the thing. They did not stop there. Oh, no. They added an entirely separate options menu purely because they could. This thing even checks if you're using either an Xbox or PlayStation controller and uses the corresponding buttons. And if you're using either a DualShock 4 or DualSense controller, not only does the bloody touch bar work in the world map, but the LED glows different colors depending on if you're a hedgehog or a werehog. Even the icon changes because of it. And you can't see the icon normally, so they really didn't have to do that, but they did anyway, and I love that so much. There's full ultra-wide support here for anyone who has any ultra-wide monitors, and it even works on CRTs. So now the cutscenes display a native 4x3 instead of a letterboxed 16x9. And the fact that all of this is in such an easy to set up method that is also running natively on your PC, may I remind you, is really the cherry and this chocolate chip sundae supreme. Firing up the install for the first time greets you with this beautiful song playing in the background. Seriously, someone please tell me who made it. And the UI is so clean, you'd think it was official. Bear in mind, you'll need to get the official game files, which isn't very hard. In fact, You can even use a Xenia setup if you already have one. You just need the update file on the internet or else you can't install it. You also have the option to install all the DLC files, which apparently includes higher resolution textures and increased level illumination, and now the magic begins. I hear this pod usually takes like 5 minutes for most folks, but it took me almost an hour for me. Probably because I'm still using mechanical hard drives manufactured in 2015 while everyone else is rocking super fast SSDs. Don't judge me, I spend my funds on a CPU. Once you get everything up and running, it is nothing short of perfection. I'm talking rock solid performance that makes the original look even more like it's running on a toaster, beautiful visuals that rival even modern AAA games, and again that's not really hot to beat, and don't even get me started on the mods. And guess what? Almost all of Unleashed's console mods are compatible with Recompiled, and that doesn't even include the original mods made exclusively for Recompiled. So, here's my personal list of mods that I use daily to make the experience just that bit better. Unleashed HD. This mod redoes all of the UI in crisp 4K, with options to add a gradient to the life counter, rename the boost bar from ring energy to boost energy, which, to be honest, makes a little bit more sense. And even edits one of the hints telling you to use the jump button for the homing attack, which is a godsend. And I like to keep the PS3 UI, purely because I grew up with the PS3. But if you don't like classic UI, you can always use Xbox and PlayStation buttons. This changes the controller and its buttons to any modern variant. You want to use an Xbox controller? Boom! Got buttons for that. PS4? Boom. PS5? Boom. And something pretty cool is that the maker of this mod also made a completely separate version for the Steam Deck. That's cool. Homing attack on jump is, well, it's exactly what it says. Infinite EXP pickup range is also exactly what it says. Disable Werehog camera pans, gets rid of all the unnecessary camera pans when you press a button, flick a switch, that sort of thing. HD Stars is, in essence, very similar to Unleashed HD, where it redoes the stars on the title screen and the world map to look very high res. PS3 FMVs swap out the crusty 480p Xbox FMVs for those crispy 720p PS3 FMVs. Colorful backlights changes the colors of Sonic shoes to pretty much whatever you want really. You can choose between multiple colors for both Sonic as a hedgehog and a werehog. Faithful HD characters is a pretty special one, honestly. This one remakes the main cast of characters with better looking models and textures to look more, as the name says, HD. It's worth mentioning that both this mod and Unleashed HD are still unfinished, but so far, they look spectacular, and I still suggest you use them. HDLab Thumbnails remakes the thumbnails and libraries with HD versions since the old ones looked kinda ugly in my opinion. High resolution textures replaces almost every texture in the game with higher quality versions found across DLC packs and even some of the prototypes, which is pretty neat. Remove world map effects. This removes the traced lines telling you to go somewhere even though you've already completed the game. And a very honorable mention has to go to the FreeCam mod. This mod allows you to reposition the camera for some good looking pictures. That's how I got these beautiful shots of Jungle Joyride, the thumbnail for this video, this nice PC desktop, take it if you want to, and this depressed bloke.
Chip, flashbang this loser.
And that more or less covers it. Now for the part that I'm sure everyone has been wanting to get to. Alright, finally, the ranking. So at this point I've told you just what exactly the definitive ways to play these games are. Let's start with consoles. And the definitive way to play it on consoles is... What were you actually expecting? Well, of course it's going to be the Xbox, but if we're talking PCs, this is where the big major change is. In the original script, I would have given off a very vague answer since both Xenia and RPCS3 provided very mixed and, in general, pretty bad results if you really think about it. But ever since Unleashed Recompiled released, that's it. There is no doubt in my mind. The crown of definitive way to play Sonic Unleashed goes to Unleashed Recompiled. And with that, the wait is finally over. After putting up with a slideshow and a jet engine for almost 16 years, we now have a way to play this absolute masterpiece with no worries about systems catching on fire or spontaneously combusting. But the question is, what's next? Where do we go from here? We have what we've been begging Sega for now, so if they release their own PC port of Unleashed, it won't be nearly as exciting. That's okay, since Skype and his mates share the tools that they've used and made for their conversion. Theoretically, any Xbox 360 game can receive a PC port if they didn't have one to begin with, which is nothing short of exciting and one of the best fine or do-it-myself moments in fandom history. And if things go this way, it really does seem like the possibilities
I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me, and now I feel so free. And it's possibility. And so I'll carry on. My time to shine has come. I feel it. As fast as I can go, straight to the top. I know you'll see it. So please wake me up when I get there. It feels like I'm lost in a dream. I know in my heart that it's my time, and I already see the possibilities are never ending. I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me, and now I feel so free. And it's possibility. Drop that smile 'cause you're beating again. No, this is where my journey begins. You're losing speed, you're losing your flow. But inside me's the power you'll never know. Let it out, it's inside you. You better all stand back 'cause I'm coming through. I see it, and now it's all within my reach. I see it now, it's always been inside of me. I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me.